Hi guys, welcome to the First Division review show. We had a full calendar of matches, I suppose, on this weekend as well. We had 4 actually on the Friday and we'd 1 on the Saturday. We'll start off with, I suppose, Keane with Athlone and Wexford, because they finished Athlone 10-0, Wexford 2. And I did say on the preview show with Daz, I said that Athlone had to win this to have a smidgen of a chance, but it all went to pot in this game for them. Moylan and Doherty with the goals. Great result for Wexford. In recent weeks, they've been good. And they'll be looking to catch Cove, who are second bottom of the league now.
Moylan was excellent in the game. Oh my God, he was brilliant. They'll do well to hold on to him next year. And it's not a sports game. It's not a sports game he played. He played well in. He's been playing well for the last couple of weeks and months, especially under rain. But look, I don't know. The wheels fell off at Athlone. Probably after everyone thought they were going to win the league, and they haven't really got it back, And for the players they have to be in the position they are now, if you actually go back to the very start of the season, okay, we done that what they call the
preview for the season, the prediction.
Yeah. We'll probably have Athlone in and around where they are now. I didn't think they'll get into the playoffs. I think they just missed out. But I think it's done now. There's a big gap there, and it is, in fairness, it's a bit of a gap for them. And it can all change within 2 weeks. We know what this league is like, but at this minute in time, I think they're out of it. And look, Wexford are on a roll here, and they're going to try and catch Cove.
It's just good signs for Wexford for next season, really, Philip, because they're finishing the season strongly, whereas the likes of Cove aren't. I was just looking at Athlone there. They won their first 4 league matches, right? In their last 19, they've won 4.
Yeah, it's just not good enough, Keith. Simply not good enough. But again, I always find we're a bit too harsh on Athlone, considering where they came from last season. And I know, look, they've recruited somewhat okay, and the players that they have probably should be doing a lot better, but they were just going nowhere last season, and to see them where they are now after such a positive start is very disappointing. But again, I think maybe decisions have been made during the season, Keith, that just haven't worked out. You know what I mean? Change the manager, and it just doesn't look like it's got better. It looks like
was that the right decision, do you think, Philip, to change Carberry? Because a lot of people are saying good things about him.
Yeah, in hindsight, no, it's not. Look, it's coming back to bite them. I thought he was a decent manager, and I thought he was doing okay with what he had. He probably could have got a bit more out of what he had at the time, but at the same time, I think Athlone just they're in a transition, and I think it's very important now that they don't go backwards in this transition rather than forwards, because there was a good bit of a big forward leap at the start of the season, and everyone thought, oh geez, they're going to win the league this year, which was bizarre to even talk about when you think about it, where they were last year, as I said. But no, look, I think it's kind of a snap back into reality. It's not going to be a fairy tale story where they go from bottom to top in the space of 2 or 3 years. It's going to take time, and obviously they'd be disappointed with this result. But again, you have to give credit to Wexford. I thought they were excellent, and I just think they I think it'll be a snap back into reality next season for them, because Tino's mentioned it many times, and it's a really good point. They need to hold on to players that are coming in on loan, and that's going to be a difficult thing to do. And then again, if they don't hold on to those lads and they go recruit again from maybe the 21s or the 19s of the likes of Pats and Rovers, and you're never guaranteed that quality is going to come in, because these lads have been playing first team football, and we've seen them slowly progress since the start of the season. But you're going back to square one then, where you've got a load of 19s and 21s coming through that are not playing first team football, and are going to struggle at the start of the season to get used to it. And you don't want it to be a repetitive process. You want to see progress from a Wexford perspective. But again, look, where we are here and now, we'll obviously talk about next season when that comes round. They were brilliant in this game, I thought, and the chances that they got. And Athlone, the wheels have come off. As Keno said, that boat is long sailed in terms of promotion, in my opinion, in terms of getting into the playoffs. So they need to just dust off the board. And I think their season is probably like Drogheda, where it's going to drift out now, and I think it's all season, all eyes towards next season for them.
Yeah, like there's 4 games to go. I think the playoffs are set now, to be fair. Treaty drew 0-0 at home to Cork, and that kind of just does Treaty, doesn't it, Keane, where they are like the 4th of the table, 38 points, 10 points ahead at Athlone and 6th. We've got 12 points available. Treaty can actually start to plan for the playoffs now, can't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the game was like that. It was a bit of a nothing game. Look, it's a definitely, I know it's a derby and stuff like that, but I think Treaty kind of played for the point, that was happy with it. And look, I think they're way ahead of where they thought they were going to be, probably. But
team of the season so far in both divisions?
Absolutely, in my opinion.
Well, definitely in the first. I don't know, in the Premier Division, you know, you have a couple of teams who are punching way above their weight there, like the likes of Derry under Higgins. Look at the points total that they're after getting. You know, then you're looking at probably Drogheda even to be where they were, and you know how I know these type of teams have probably lost a bit of form here and there, but so have Treaty. Treaty just managed to stay where they are for some reason, but it's, you know, it's fantastic to see where Treaty are, and they're a tough team to beat. Probably not so much in recent weeks for some reason. They're shipping a lot more goals than probably.
Little nerves come into it in recent weeks.
But you know that's something that they'll get out of their game. And in a one-off game, if you're one-off games in the Premier or sorry in the playoffs, you know you'd have to see them up there with definitely a fighting chance. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think Cork's finishing the season strongly, which is good. And, you know, they're going to be looking for top 3 next year. I know top 3 doesn't secure they go up or anything, but if they finish outside the top 3 in the first division next year, it'd be a disappointing season. I know, like I said, second and third is the playoffs. So what happens if it doesn't matter where they finish once they finish in the playoffs? But if I was a Cork City fan, less than top 3 wouldn't do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, Philip, Cork have to be looking to challenge next season. Now, ultimately, as Keane says, they have improved their form, but they're 7th in the table, 4 games to go, nowhere near the playoff place. At the start of the season, I'm not predicting that, to be honest. I actually think they're a good enough squad of players to be in the playoffs. That's my personal opinion.
I think I predicted them to go second, I think.
I think one of us went second and third, yeah.
I to be honest with you, Keith,
we were wrong.
Yeah. I watched back a bit of this game and then I turned it off because it was a nothing game. You know what I mean? It was very poor, I thought. There was very few chances in the game that I thought, like, you know, I looked at it and said, I watched 25 minutes, half an hour, and that's enough for me, you know. And the biggest thing about this game was the bleeding pyro, all the fans, all the murder in the streets of Cork or whatever it was. But I tell you what, one thing, Keith, fair play to Treaty when we look at them now and say where they've gone from where they were expected to, you know, in terms of the league position. Credit to them. But I have to say I was very impressed with Cork in terms of how they have had a resurgence. Like, I know it's nothing major to kick up a fuss about, but at one stage I thought they were going to lose every game toward the end of the season, like the way things were going for them in games, you know, they just couldn't buy a result. But again, they've turned it around, and look, I'd say it'll feel more than a point against Treaty. I'd say Cork will take it as a 2-pointer, if that makes sense, you know, because how well Treaty have done this year, you know, and
Treaty have also beaten twice before this year, so they didn't want to lose 3 times in a row.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's definitely down to their recent form. You know, I think things are just starting to slowly click for Cork, but again, they'll need to make sure they hold on to a couple of players, and they'll need to recruit, I think, a bit more in terms of if they want to push for the league. In my opinion, you know, promotion definitely is an opportunity next year, but I don't think that's good enough for Cork, to be honest with you. A big club like that, they need to be pushing for a league, and I think they need to get a couple of more experienced heads in, and reliable experienced heads, you know, because the ones down there, as we spoke about before, Keith, they've let them down this year. The younger lads have kind of picked the pieces up towards the latter end of the season. So yeah, it's a big season, a big recruitment season for Cork ahead. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get on.
Yeah, finished Galway United 4, UCD 1, Warwood, Rowe, Doherty, Cunningham and Whelan for UCD. Surprise, surprise. But this result actually, or scoreline, shocked me, to be fair. UCD have been excellent in recent weeks, and I thought this would be a tight game. I also thought be the type of game. They were both level in the table, second and third. Galway jumped to second now, where they both felt like the playoff was secure. So I thought it might have been one of those, cagey games, but Galway just blew them away, Keane.
Yeah, a bit of a statement.
Yeah.
I thought, and it was, they'll be disappointed, Galway. I never thought they had the squad I said top 3, I think, for Galway, but
in the defence, Shelbourne have been just excellent as well, yeah.
I expected Galway to be where they were, but without challenging for the league, which is exactly where they are now. Like, I expect them to be second or third, but to be still miles off Shelbourne. And, it's tough. It really is tough. And I think next year, with Shelbourne going up, it will, I don't know, will it even it out a little bit? One going up and, you're going to have Longford going back down. So I think
it will, as long as none of the Premier Division teams go down.
Yeah, so it's going to be wide open a little bit. It's going to be wide open, I think, down there. And I think it's more of a level playing field, because I think Shelbourne have kind of just blown everyone away without actually playing well. But, I'd be happy to say Galway and UCD are both in with a shout. Whoever wins these playoffs are both in with a shout. You just can't call these games when it comes to the playoffs. It's impossible. But the games that I'm really looking forward to watching, and these are games now, like from the 22nd of October. So from the Cup semi-final weekend, it's full capacity. So you can go to games now. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm not sure when the playoff games are, but I'll be checking out. And you'd like to think I'll be able to get to a game or two in the playoffs.
We might do one together if that's all right with Keith. The three of us, the three amigos. That'd be a good one, I think.
That could be something we could look at, definitely, because the playoffs, it's great crack to watch going to those playoffs games.
You go to one game, we all go to another. We all ring into each other. There's a goal here.
There's no goals here. There's always one, isn't it? To get stuck with that. Philip, was that a statement win for Galway?
Yeah, in the playoff sense, yeah. I think they laid a marker down here. But at the same time, Keith, I think this could probably be a sharp reminder for UCD. Although they're playing very well in the past few weeks, this is a tough division, and the playoffs are going to be very tough this year. I think it's probably the most competitive playoffs we're going to have in recent years. I just think any of them could do it, and that's on a given day, obviously. But I just think, I don't know, I just think the fourth division is getting stronger, Keith. With the top half certainly is. I think it's just the way things have gone in the past 2 or 3 years. Teams just seem to be developing more, and there's more attendance at these games, and there's more, not much more, but there's a bit more money coming into the fourth division, and I think that's shown. I think Shells have helped that as well, big time, in terms of attendances and such. So I think, in terms of, to answer your question, I think it definitely was a statement result, and I don't know, I think I might come back to bite them a bit as well. I think Galway, if they were to get UCD, they might turn around and say, yes, we've done these in a few weeks ago, and that's in the back of their head. But I think that'll motivate UCD to go and get a result against them. So you can look at it both sides of the coin, Keith. And look, I have to say, looking back on the highlights, there was a couple of really good goals in the game, good passages of play. But overall, you need to look at it. And probably Keano's right where he thought where the both sides would be. There was a spell where I thought Galway might actually reel in Shells, but I think I was being a bit optimistic there. In reality, and hindsight, as I said, is great. But it's going to be an interesting playoff now, Keith. I'm really looking forward to seeing who gets who. And, I think it's set now who's going to play in the playoffs. But, interesting times ahead. Yeah,
finished Cabinteely 0, Shelbourne 2 at Stradbrook Point, and then Michael O'Connor the goal on 90 minutes. Shelbourne are now 10 clear with 12 points available. So essentially they can win the league by beating Treaty next week. Again, a typical workman-like, I suppose, Cian, comfortable Shelbourne win, really. Yeah, it was. It was comfortable. I didn't see much of the game. I knew they scored in the 90-odd minute, and I was just like, I'm not going to sit myself through that. But, it'd be different now to say, can Treaty go and spoil the party next week? But, well, in fairness, spoil the party, there's not a real party to spoil. Like, it's only a matter of time before it happens. And anyway,
But
They could
Shells,
probably lose all their games and probably still win the league, let's be honest.
Still win.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And I'm still laughing at people who are still criticising Ian Morris for some reason. I just don't know. Like,
Idiots.
Won the feat all season against Galway United in the league.
But he's still getting questioned. And, I can't get my head around that. Like, in fairness, I think he has a bit of a thankless job, and I think Stephen Bradley is probably in the same boat as him. I think they're getting they're thankless jobs. And, I think if Bradley lost 3 or 4 games, look, the league is wrapped up now, but what I'm saying, if Bradley loses 3 or 4 games, or even earlier on the season, he was under a bit of pressure, and it's a thankless job, I think, in the league. Shelbourne and Rovers at this minute is one of them 2 teams, and I think possibly Dundalk you throw in there as well.
Yeah,
they're a bit of a thankless job, but Morris, I think, has done really, really well. For what he's done. Look, he has the squad, he has the players. We know that. We know the quality that he had. Well, it's different making them all work and gel together and keeping everyone happy, because he's a big squad, and he seems to have done that. Now, one more win. Well, they don't even need a win next week. But what? All they probably
I'd like
need
to finish it next week, though, I suppose.
That's it. Yeah, finish it next week in a bit of style. But it's good to see, and I'm looking forward to seeing Shelbourne back in the Premier Division and going back to Tolka next year. I know it's probably not the greatest of grounds, but the away days are always special in Tolka, especially between Pats and Shells.
No, the Premier Division definitely misses Pats and Shells, I have to say, those fixtures. But yeah, Philip, I mean, it has been a fantastic season for Shelbourne. So I was just thinking there, like, without jumping too far ahead, but I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Shelbourne don't need to make too many changes next season, in my opinion. I think it would do. I know people are saying, some Shelbourne fans are saying they're not sure if that squad would be good enough, blah, 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 blah. I think if they went out and made 7 or 8 changes, I think it could do them more harm than good, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Look, keep you saying you're not thinking too far ahead. People have been having this conversation the past 2 months.
Last 4 years.
Yeah, well, that's true, yeah. It is a difficult one, Keith, because, like, we've seen what happened to them last year. They fell apart, and the core bunch of that squad are still there. The core bunch now, there's still a few that have gone. Like, but you'd wonder if they can apply themselves better next season. We think they personally will. I think they'll learn from what happened last season. Look, most of these players have played in the top flight before, and you're probably a bit shocked when you seen them fall apart the way they did. But I think that they'll be better for it, Keith. And I think 1 or 2, get 1 or 2 in. I don't know. I think next season, forget about Europe and forget about the league and all this sort of stuff. I think they just need to focus on staying up a bit. Like, Shells have been all over the place the past few years, and I think they just need a bit of consolidation in the top flight. I think they just need to get themselves up there for the year, finish 8th, 7th or 8th in around there, be happy with that. I know probably Shells fans probably won't be too happy with that.
Phil, you have to bear in mind as well, and they have to bear in mind that the Premier Division has got stronger as well in the last year or two.
Yeah,
I think.
It has, Keith. That's why I'm emphasising that point. Just finish up there and don't end up in a playoff. We end up in trouble like they did last year. Get yourself into 7th or 8th and just consolidate and then build on that. Because Shells are a big club. There's no question about it. Like, they are a big club when it comes to their history and what they've done. And I think them and Cork, they don't belong in the 4th division. And I think it goes to show that the step up in quality of the top flight, it's gotten stronger. I said the 1st division's gotten stronger, but the top flight has obviously definitely got stronger. So, to answer your question again, Keith, I think they need to get 1 or 2 in, but again, just focus on staying up next season. Credit to them, they've done a brilliant job. I think Ian's been brilliant. I would never question them in a million years. Next season, obviously going to be a big challenge, but they're more than capable with the squad they have, and I'd fancy them to stay up next year, Keith, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, if you question a manager, won the feat all season and about to win the league, I just don't know anymore. Ramblers 1, Bray Wanderers 2 at St. Coleman's Park, Keane. And it's a big win for Bray because, as I said, going into the weekend, you know, if Athlone won on the Friday, they were 2 points behind Bray, which would have put pressure on Bray. So to win this, like, it secures their playoff place, as far as I can say. Graydon and O'Farrell's goals, Abish penalty for Cove. Bray also had a player sent off. 1-1. So, you know, it's a big win. Cove, look, I think they just want to end the season now, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. And they'd be worried about looking over the shoulder and finishing bottom. Look, it could easily happen. I watched this game live. I don't know why, but I did.
Both got a goal, didn't they? Where the referee didn't blow the whistle or something at the end.
It was a little bit weird. To be honest, I don't even know what happened. I was kind of on my phone. I kind of had it on the background, and you know, you take a look up every now and again. It's like I don't know. It wasn't great. It wasn't a great occasion. It wasn't a great game. It's not like a formality to just get the game done. That's what it feels like. And it feels like every game in the first division now, it's all about just getting it done.
Isn't it?
Playing it out and getting it into the playoffs and seeing what happens. But that's what it's like. But, you know, it was okay in parts of the game from what I seen. I was, like I said, I had it on the background from start to finish, but I wasn't really, you know, looking at it, but it wasn't great. I don't know about Bray. I think they might fall out. I don't think they're going to fall out of the playoffs, but I think they might fall in the playoffs and they might go at the first hurdle.
They'd be disappointed with their season overall, I think, unless, of course, they get up.
Like, I'm thinking of the likes of Treaty, I'm thinking of Galway, and, you know, do you fancy Bray to win them? Now, look, they could probably prove us wrong here and put it in. And to be honest, I love Bray, and I'd be delighted for them if they did win it.
If we write them off, that's probably the best thing for them.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm probably down them all a favour here. But, you know, I fancy Galway or Treaty over Bray. And to be honest, you can even put UCD in that bracket. I'd probably prefer UCD over Bray. So, you know, I think Bray are probably the ranked outsiders. Now, I'm saying that Longford were the ranked outsiders last year as well. And look where they are now. And look, now they're coming straight back down. But, you know, I think for the league, I think for a really, really strong Premier Division, I think Shelbourne should be the only team up. Now, that's me. Look, it mightn't happen like that, but I think if Longford went down and Shells came up and Ninth stayed the same, you know, I think Ninth in the Premier, I think then you'd have a really, really good First Division and a really good Premier Division.
And strangely enough, I actually think Galway, they wouldn't like to hear this, but I actually think another season in the First Division, if they got up the following season, it might be the best thing for them as well, to be honest.
Yeah, just to build that side again, because, you know, I think they're still, they're still 5-6 players away from a decent squad. I think a lot of these teams in the First Division, look, it's the same in the Championship in England, and it's the same in League One in England. The squads aren't big enough. And, you know, that's the thing. That's the Shelbourne probably has the biggest squad in the two divisions put together. You know, in terms of the players and stuff like that, what they have in every position, I think they probably have 2 or 3 players that can play in either position. Then you look, for example, the likes of Bowes probably who have 2 in each position. Rovers are a little bit light. I think Pats are a little bit light. You know, and I think Dundalk probably have a big squad, but they're decimated at the minute. But, you know, that's it. That's what I think. I think that's where a lot of problems fall, is the small squads over the course of a 30-game season or wherever you play.
That's a fair point, Philip, because I was thinking there, Bray Wanderers actually do have a small enough squad, I have to say, and anytime they're missing 2 or 3 players, because as I said before, you can't go through a whole season not missing any players, like it's not FIFA, you know what I mean? But Bray's squad, I think, it definitely lacks that depth that some of the other squads that Cian mentioned, even probably that UCD have, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and look, it's probably one thing you probably criticise Bray about. You know, they've been down there now. This is the second consecutive year in the First Division, if I'm correct, you know, and I think they could have recruited better this year. You know, obviously injuries haven't helped them, but you can't as you said, you can't expect it to be like a game of FIFA. You know what I mean? You're going to pick up injuries throughout the season. You need to know that the man coming in to replace the lad that's out is going to be up to scratch. And, you know, Gary Shaw has been majorly hit with injury this season. And we can just see the replacements have not done the job, you know, and they've lost a lot of points due to him being out. And obviously there's other factors as well with not playing well in games. And Bray have done that sometimes this season, and a lot of draws, which didn't help their case. But yeah, I think they're definitely one of the weaker sides, you know, Keith. And you said about Galway might need another year down there. I think that there's no harm for Bray, you know, but in my opinion, personally, I think Bray are another team that don't belong in the first division. I think they're well capable of being the top flight, you know, and it's a good away day down there, down to Bray, you know, and I think everyone enjoys it when they are in the top flight. So, again, I'm going to personally write them off as well. So, Keith Ryan probably be delighted to think he's going to go out and see Bray up in the top flight next year, because anytime we do this, they go up, and I'm pretty sure you're going to say the same as well, Keith, and write them off, because I just think everyone else around them at the minute is just too strong.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, I don't fancy them. I fancy the other teams. I think as well, when it comes to the playoffs, you do kind of need the squad as well, particularly if you go the distance in the playoffs. But look, that'll be music to Bray's ears, to be honest with you, if the three of us are writing them off in the playoffs. So guys, we'll leave it there. Please subscribe, hit your bell notification button, like the video if you enjoy the content, and let us know what you think in the comments, particularly Keith Ryan. You let us know. Cheers, lads.